Well, yeah, but they haven't been home underdogs since the tackle that turned the tide.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Actually, and so, there is that piece of it. I guess technically they have been actually, the Ravens game, but the America didn't recognize that the offense is back. And we saw it in the Ravens game. That's fine throughout the Ravens game. That Jags defense has been what's carried them all year. They moved the ball at will. They scored 28. Patrick made a big mistake, and they lost the game. They made a lot of un-Chiefs-like plays on special teams, the penalties, the interception. But the offense is back to moving the ball at will. I think it will only be better. And I have a question for the group, because I don't want to be here Monday angry. We all are aware of the Lions injury report, right?
Yes.
We're all aware that the corners are banged up and the safeties are banged up. Beating the Lions still is a great win, right?
Great.
Is there any score they have to reach, or it's just beat the Lions?
It would be a great
Okay.
win.
3-0 do what
is
was done a
impressive.
few years ago when Travis Kelce missed that game and the Lions beat him. We're not going to do that.
And Christian.
I definitively did not do that, and I can't. My Super Bowl championship rings are blocking my hearing on that, Greg. I absolutely did not make an excuse there. But I'm just asking. So, yeah, I think the Chiefs right now are going to, at home, take care of business by at least 2.5 points, because right now I like the matchup of the Chiefs offense against the Lions defense. And so, yeah, I think they do deserve to be favored against what everybody thinks is the best team in football right now.
No, they shouldn't be favored. Now, they're the Chiefs. They can win. But I think the only reason to favor them is just looking at the history. It's Patrick Mahomes. They're great. Historically, we're going to favor them at home. But right now, look, I think that Jags defense is good, but I think its best thing is taking the ball away. Definitely. It can be moved on, run on and thrown on, but they've gotten a lot of takeaways. But, Detroit is clicking. Four straight wins. I know some of them haven't been great teams, but still, 4 straight wins. Goff is clicking. Dan Campbell is not I'm sure he's going into this feeling like, of course, we just want to win, but we want to make a statement. And not just to the Chiefs, to the whole league, that we are here and we are back. And so I look, Rasheed is not yet back. With Xavier, who was at one point questionable this week, that helps, but especially against that depleted backfield for Detroit. But, yeah, I think the way Detroit has been playing, the fact that the Chiefs have already lost at home, it's not like you can say, oh, they won't lose in Arrowhead. And Detroit beat them in Arrowhead a couple years ago. And so, yeah, I think Detroit should be favored.
Yeah, I'm with you. No, they shouldn't be favored, the Chiefs being the no. However, I do understand it, and I don't agree with you in terms of their being favored because of their history. I think that's a piece of it, but I think more so it's what you said. Their offense, we're starting to see them turn the page on how that offense looks. And I think when you look at that and you see a defense that is hampered with injuries, you're like, okay, Chiefs at home, they just suffered a big loss to the Jags Monday night, prime time. Patrick Mahomes was a huge reason why, because of that interception, pick 6. You kind of feel like they're going to come out with something to prove against an opponent that everybody, to your point, is saying the best in the league. However, Detroit has been here before. They've played with a plague of injuries on that defense all last year. And if this were the playoffs, I would have greater concern. But regular season, there is something that Dan Campbell has the ability to do that most coaches don't. And that is not allow his team to have a lull, regardless or despite the opponent that they're
I think
playing.
they're going to be locked in. And I think that, but I also, you guys joke, I'm dead serious about tackle that turn the tide, but it also is they played 20 quarters, and that was 10 quarters in. It has been, maybe it's coincidental, Mahomes has been a different guy.
Okay. Let's talk about this, and let's not, it is dumb, the whole tackle that turned the tide. Just give that a rest. This game is just, I think trying to predict this game is near impossible at this point. We can start to compare the injuries and how good the offense is. We can try to boost up the Jacksonville Jaguars as this great defense and say, well, look what the Kansas City Chiefs did against them. And it's just like, yeah, they had a lot of turnovers and whatnot, but the Jacksonville Jaguars also got cooked by Jake Browning and the Cincinnati Bengals. So it's just like, I don't know. And then they played the Houston Texans, whose offense has been atrocious. And I think, who else was it? Yeah, right. The Carolina Panthers, who have also been quite awful. And really their most impressive win outside of the Chiefs was against the 49ers. And that was when Brock Purdy turned the ball over a whole bunch and was banged up, and that whole team was banged up and whatnot. So I don't think we can start to figure out who has a great defense and who doesn't right now. And if you're looking at that Jacksonville Jaguars offense and comparing it to the Detroit Lions offense, which offense do you think is better? We know the answer. And so if that team hung 31 points, 31 points against the Kansas City Chiefs, I mean, who's to say that the Lions aren't going to hang 40-some points? So if the defenses are really kind of struggling here for the Detroit Lions, then you're going to expect that Lions offense to just really be ultra hyper aggressive, going for it on fourth down, big swings, trying to also run the ball a lot to really keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, to minimize the damage that he can do. I think this game can just go in so many different directions, and I do think the level of injuries and all that are a big question mark. And also even the same thing, that's what I've been talking about with the Detroit Lions. It's like, right, like it's this is a fascinating game to try to figure out, because you're like, well, how good are the Kansas City Chiefs and how good are the Detroit Lions? And you're like, yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs haven't really beat any great teams, and you're like, the Detroit Lions haven't really beat any great teams, and they both beat the Ravens, and the Ravens are not good. Both these teams beat the Ravens, and the Ravens are just not good and completely fell apart, especially from an injury perspective. And so it's like, so are the Lions truly as great as people believe them to be? Are they more fragile, or is it just a matter of them just being better than the bad teams, of course? And same thing with the Chiefs. Like I it's fascinating, and normally you would say we would really get to learn a lot because it's a barometer game, but it would be so fascinating if the Chiefs beat the Lions comfortably. You'd be like, oh, maybe the Lions actually aren't back, and they really actually are struggling with, X, Y, and Z. And it's funny because then if the Lions beat the Chiefs, you'd almost be like, yeah, they beat the Chiefs, but it's like, it's not the real Chiefs, right? That Chiefs team just lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars right now, and lost to the Eagles, who the Eagles just lost to the Giants. Like, it's messy right now. I mean, it really is. Nobody really ever likes that answer. Everybody wants definitive things, right? And the fan bases want, if the Chiefs win, they want to be like, we beat the team that's considered the best team in the NFL. And if the Lions win, they want to be like, if the Lions win, we beat the Chiefs, who are the Chiefs, right? Like, they were the Super Bowl, in the Super Bowl and back to back. And it's just like, yeah, but like, I don't, we're trying to figure out both teams here. But I think both teams can clarify things for themselves, but I don't know. This game is going to just be fascinating to unpack. I think this is one of those games. And so that's why the whole question, did Chiefs deserve to be favored? My answer to that is like, who cares? I mean, seriously, like, I get this. This is a question that they often ask, specifically about the Chiefs. But it's just like, I get that a lot of times it's just like, hey, we want to talk about this game. And so like, what question can we put at the bottom of the screen? But it's just like, who cares? Who honestly cares who should or should not be favored? Because right now at this part of the season, both teams are trying to figure out who are they. And if both teams get a win, I think you could feel really good that at a minimum, you beat a pretty good team. Now, how great is said team? That remains to be seen right now. But it's I'm fascinated by this, because every time I think to myself, okay, well, if the Chiefs win, what does that mean? And if the Lions win, what does that? And it's just like, yeah, if that Lions defense is not looking good and the Chiefs offense is looking really good, well, then it's just like, Do you want to praise the Chiefs offense for looking good, or is the Lions defense not doing too well right now? And it's interesting because if the Chiefs offense struggles against the Detroit Lions defense, and you're like, all right, well, they just struggled against a defense that is really banged up. What does that say now? And if the offense for the Lions is able to pile on a lot of points and the Chiefs offense can't keep up in that moment of time, and you're like, well, all right, well, what's this defense look like now for the Kansas City Chiefs? Like there's just too many variations. There's too many variations, which is why I hope for the most part we get a clean game so we can just like look at it at face value and not have to be like, oh, well, that was a ridiculous mistake. Oh, dude, they fumbled on the 3-yard line. What are the odds of that, right? Like, I hope we get a little bit clearer of a game. And it will be fascinating to see how Dan Campbell, how aggressive he is, because again, if he has a sense that his defense really is hampered and that this Kansas City Chiefs offense can really take off on this Lions defense, then you are going to see maybe some of those situations where Dan Campbell's like, all right, we're at our own 35, 4th and 2, we're going for it, right? Like, that's essentially what he was doing last season when they were injured against the Packers and whatnot. Like, you saw that level of intensity and aggression, and I don't know if, I don't believe that the Lions defense is that banged up as it was as last year. So, but I don't know what the sense is or how good this Chiefs offense necessarily will look right now. I imagine the Chiefs offense will continue to get better and better and better, especially with a fully healthy Xavier Worthy or just some actual reps with Xavier Worthy and whatnot. But yeah, I don't know. It's like using the game against the Ravens, which was a disaster, using the second half against the New York Giants, who are a disaster. I know they're playing a lot better now a little bit, but again, with Russ versus Jackson Dart, just night and day, as well as going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know. I think right now the data is messy. So reaching firm conclusions about anything right now just feels a little premature. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think the Kansas City Chiefs deserve to be favored? Who you got in this game? I'm excited for this game, man. Sunday, 8:20 Eastern Standard Time. Let's get after it. 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. 7 o'clock Mountain Time? I don't know. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.